Oh, hey there, everybody! Welcome to welcome to episode 69 of Stacked. That's right. So
Nice. That should just
We've
be
been waiting
our
so long
description.
for that number.
we've been waiting so long for this number, and we thought as a little special treat, we thought we'd do this episode the naked. This is gonna be the naked episode. So, boys, why don't we get these dang clothes off?
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
I still can't believe you talked us into this earlier.
Yeah, well, it's for the episode. It's a very special episode. Brandon looking good as always. Brandon has work after this episode, so he had to take out his little Boy Scout uniform, and I don't know how I feel about that.
He's kind of kinky like that.
Yeah.
No.
No. So yeah, we're all there. It's a little cold in here now. Oh God. Okay, but I'm just gonna keep doing the episode. Oh wow, Chris. Okay, never mind. Looking good, dude.
Hey, dude, the stereotype
yeah.
is not true. I'm living proof.
Yeah, I can see that. That's hey, that's good for you. Good for you. Sorry, I'm a little nervous this episode. Okay.
Body positivity.
Yeah, this is a body positivity
all about
episode.
Body positivity. Episode.
My boys are looking great. Wow, this is gonna be a good episode. All right, so yeah, welcome back to Stacked, everyone. It's the last. We're recording this literally on New Year's Eve, so it's the last day of the year for us. It's gonna be the second of. It's gonna be the second day of the year for when everyone listens to this, and as always, not as always. We've only done this once, but it will be as always. We're gonna run down our favorite films of the year, our stacks of the most quintessential films of 2021, our favorite films, what we thought represented this year the best. And yeah, guys, was this a hard stack to choose from? I feel like 2020 was a little easier, more slim pickings,
Yeah.
But we finally could, now that movie theaters are open, they got open this year. We actually got to see more films. I saw 20 more films than I did last year. Brandon's like, child. Well, that's because he saw Sundance films. It's not fair.
No, it is. I saw more than just Sundance films,
Oh, sure. But Chris,
Brandon didn't see any movies other than what he saw. He just closed his eyes the rest of the year.
I've seen what I need to see.
I've seen it all. Chris, what was it like for you to construct the stack? Because I'm the most curious what Chris's stack is going to be, because he's the only one who doesn't have a 2021 ranked list on Letterboxd. So usually I occasionally check in on Brandon what his list looks like and sort of like try to get an idea what his stack's going to be. But Chris, I don't know anything what you're going to choose. So
Right. Yeah. For me, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that of the three, I've seen the least. But for me, when I approached making this stack, I didn't really think of it as making a list of movies of the ones I liked the most this year. Mm-hmm. My goal with it was more of picking out the films that are most worthy of celebration this year for what they achieved in their artistry or what have you, or what they did. I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, I tried to pick out the movies that I thought promoted what I believe to be the things that I am grateful to see in movie theaters this year. And of course, I think all of us would agree that this has been a pretty interesting year with movies. There's been a lot of variety, at least in what I saw. And of course, there were also, because of that, there was also a lot of blind spots in terms of what I didn't get to see. So certain movies that I have suspicions would have either made this list for me or been relatively high up on my list, I didn't even see. For example, I did not see Drive My Car and Last Duel this year, which I heard are amazing, and I feel like especially Drive My Car I would really like, but I don't know. And there are other films like House of Gucci or The Humans that I'm like, I maybe could have gone see them, but
yeah,
I didn't really want to. So Yeah, I don't know. And like French Dispatch I didn't even see. So like there's little like areas where I didn't see things, but I'm pretty happy with what I came out with. This was a pretty cool year. Yeah, there was a little bit of everything for this year, I feel like.
Yeah, Brandon.
I think it was sort of difficult because you're dealing with a lot of different films this year. I feel like we've gotten our like quite a bit of variety. Like I versus last year where I felt like it was like every movie was pretty much like a safe pick. But yeah, I think this year, while it isn't the best year for movies, like I feel like 2019, 2017, like those were like top tier years where it was like it seemed like 75% of the movies that came out were pretty good. Like this year I would say like 50 or 50%, which is still a good like, but like for me it's like it's still a down year for movies. But it's still hard because we can only pick 3.
Yeah.
Only 3 movies,
Only 3.
bro.
Which is still a very small amount to credit the best of the year. Even
like I did my top 10.
Even in a bad year, you usually have at least 10 that you like.
Yeah,
like, decently enough that you'd be like, oh yeah, let's share this movie.
Yeah. For me, it was like I wanted to put these films more into like a 2021 mindset. So I felt like these films spoke to me on a real deep level that resonated with what I was going through in 2021. A lot of big changes for us this year. A lot of interesting things that happened. A lot of cool things. So I wanted to reflect that through the films that I chose. You know, I didn't choose like just my 3 top favorites. You know, I wanted to get some variety in there, and I think it's gonna make for a really, really fun episode. I'm so excited to see what you guys pick. So without further ado, let's start our picks. But of course, let's run over the rules of the show. Once a week, we set a topic or theme and go our separate ways to construct our own 3-film stack. Then after a week, we come back here on the podcast and share our own stacks, 1 film at a time. Then at the end of the show, we will mix and match our 9 films, make the ultimate decision on what quintessential 3-film stack we are checking out this hypothetical video store. Chris, you are up first with your first 2021 pick.
All right. Well, this movie, I swear, like nobody but me saw this movie.
Cop shit.
Including you guys. You guys didn't even see this movie.
Really?
Yeah, because you guys are fucking racist. I'm kidding.
What?
Oh no, I know what movie this is.
You probably know what this is. Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite movies of the year. Directed by Justin Chon of Twilight fame. It's Blue Bayou.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I didn't see this movie because I'm racist.
This movie slipped under. This movie slipped under a lot of people's radar. I think the marketing of this movie was so small. Like, I think all their budget went towards production, and whatever marketing was thrown their way was probably just from whichever studio distributed it. I don't think they invested very much money in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I honestly think is kind of a shame, because this is a really good movie. I honestly was very surprised by this. I saw this in a double feature with Card Counter. This was first, so this set the bar high for me. So okay, but we're not here to talk about Card Counter because that movie's boring as shit. Let's go to Blue Bayou. So Blue Bayou tells the story of Antonio, a Korean American man raised in the Louisiana Bayou, and he has to confront the ghosts of his past and faces deportation from the only country he's ever called home, which is the U.S. Obviously, right from its very concept, you know that this is a very socio-politically resonant movie for a lot of people, particularly for people within first and second generation Asian immigrant families. And this movie, what it does is that it paints this portrait of this very painful thing that a lot of families do have to go through, even to this day. It's a very well-articulated condemnation of racism and authority figures and agencies such as ICE. But it's also something of a eulogy for the American dream, which I think is something that a lot of immigrant families eventually do have to learn on their own. Because, you know, I feel like, I mean, me even, like, I came to the US, like, with that whole, like, oh, Hollywood, you know, like, it's gonna be great, blah, blah, blah. And then, shit, man, like, oh, man. But, yeah, it's very emotionally driven, it's very powerful, especially at the end, it hits all the right notes to make you, like, kind of swell up a little bit, you know. It's gritty, shot in 16 and 35 millimeter film, so it's real. It's got that real, I don't know, like that real, like grimy texture to it that really feels human. Performances are fantastic. I guess my one critique of it is that it is pretty on the nose, you know, like there's not much subtlety beneath it because, you know, all of the stuff is kind of laid out straight up for you, you know. But I feel like I can kind of get around that because when approaching such a volatile topic like this, subtlety isn't exactly my primary focus. I'm really interested in getting to the meat of things, you know, with this kind of stuff. Yeah, anyways, one of the most slept on movies of the year in my opinion. Check it out when you guys get a chance, guys. Like Justin Chon, young and unproven director, but I think this is a great start for the guy.
Yeah, I okay, sorry. Before I continue, if it looked like I was laughing, I gotta break I gotta break some news. Betty White died. Betty White.
Shit, really?
Betty White just died.
All right, pause the hold on. Oh, fuck me, man.
This is crazy.
99.
She was, and her 100th birthday was just like 2 days away or something.
Damn. No, I thought it was on New Year's.
It's on January 17th is her birthday. So like that's close. That's like less
so close, and she died today. On the last day of 2021. That's just so crazy. Finally. I'm just kidding. No.
This is like when Kirk Douglas died all over again.
The only reason why I find this funny is because they've just been hyping up when I've been going to the AMC theaters, they've been being like, buy tickets to celebrate Betty White's 100th birthday. And like there's like this big event for Betty White's 100th birthday, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But looks like she's not going to be attending it. Sorry, Betty White's. Anyways, Blue Bayou. Okay, this movie looks so cool. I remember wanting to see it. The trailers were really good. It looked like a very intense film. I love the backdrop that it had of like sort of this rural American backdrop, because you don't really see that with these types of films, you know. This sort of setting. So it was a unique setting, and I feel like it was telling a unique story. But like, it only played in theaters for like a week.
Yeah.
A week.
It disappeared so quickly.
I remember you saw it, you're like, guys, you gotta go check out Blue Bayou. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go check it out. And then it just stopped playing. Yeah. I was like, what? Okay, fine. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out.
Because we're like always there, dude.
We're always on top of it. But like this one was so quick, in and out. And we're just like, oh, okay, guess not. Guess I'm not gonna see it in theaters. So
I think it was a victim to like the 2021 like return to the movies, because didn't it come out like
it was relatively early in the cycle of starting theater going.
I feel it was summer, right?
Yeah, like maybe just towards the end of summer-ish.
Yeah,
somewhere like that.
And that was like the time when I think like everybody was just getting back to the movies and stuff, and maybe that there was limited capacities and limited amounts of movies that they could show. Because I remember, at least at the AMC we go to all the time, they had limited amounts of movies. Like they would show like classics off on some screen, but they didn't use every screen. They used like only like 15 of the screens or whatever.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Yeah. That's probably why we didn't see it, but it does look interesting. I thought the trailer was really well done, but I can't speak to the movie.
Yeah, but it looks good.
Yeah.
All right,
American
Brandon.
Tail.
A good old American Tail. Brandon, you want to take us into your first film?
Yes. I'm gonna pick my favorite movie of the year first. I'm gonna go with Mass.
Mass. Okay, because you know both of us haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was another one, just like Blue Bayou. In and out. I think I was out of town when it came out, and I was like, all right, I'll see it when I'm back in town. And then I came back, gone. I was like, what?
Well, I saw this at Sundance.
You saw it. So see, all of his movies, you saw him at Sundance.
Somebody's
tell us
jealous.
I'm not jealous.
It's just like, you know, those play type movies where, you know, it's just 4 people, 5 people, sitting in a room talking. That's what this is. And to me, it spoke to me so much, especially during this year where I feel like I went through a minor terrifying event in my life. And it's a film where the parents of a shooter speak to the parents of the victim. And both are trying to gain closure at this small church in like the middle of like rural America. And they're trying to figure out why people like shoot other people. And somebody might say, oh, well, it's like preachy and like it's like all about like gun control and stuff like that. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. Like I feel like a part of it's about the grieving process and like the ability for human beings to sort of find each other in places. And then it's also about like not blaming everyone for the mistakes that somebody else makes. It's a very heart-wrenching movie. Like each of the four actors really give it their all. And it sucks that like only like one of them might get an Oscar nomination, and that's like might, because the film is like remarkable in what it's able to accomplish with such a small budget and small location. Because the script carries it, the performance carries it, and it is really one of the most powerful movies of the year. Like definitely very sobering, not necessarily the crowd pleaser that people are going to look for when they vote for their awards at the end of the year. But for me, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, it's going to be tough for a movie to top this all year. And so far, nothing has. So, it's Max.
Hey, you got one more day, baby.
I actually
today.
I can't. I got work at 2, bro.
You can still sneak it on your phone, man. You can still watch one more really good movie.
me and Dispatch at my ride. Oh yes, good movie. Oh yeah, this is 5 out of 5.
Yeah, send them.
Send them. They're not even buckled in yet. No, yeah, I love these kinds of films too. You know, I'm talking like 12 Angry Men. I'm talking like certain sequences of John Carpenter's The Thing, where it's just people in a room going at it. Loose is also somewhat like this, you know? All great movies, and this does deal with a very topical and sensitive topic that I'm glad hasn't been Don't Look Up eyes, I would say, you know?
Dark comedy about mass shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like Blue Bayou. I'm so bummed I missed this one. I really wanted to see it, and I don't think I ever will because of it now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm definitely gonna watch it soon. Sorry. Yep. If I don't see it in theaters, I'm not gonna watch it. No. It is what it is. No.
Stop rubbing your nipples when you say that, Ethan.
Stop. Sorry, I'm making a big mark on my belly as I run a circle around it.
God.
It's so fucked up. Sorry. Do you want me to put a shirt back on? Is it making you uncomfortable?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I see it every day.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stay naked. That's fine. So yeah, yeah. I want to see this movie. Chris, what have you heard about Mass?
Literally not a thing. Until Brandon spoke, I didn't even know it was about like it was what its subject was. All I knew was its title, and that was at Sundance, and that was it. Yeah, I mean, like these kinds of like intimate, like you said, like dramas of like that's simply distilled into characters in a room is really like something special. It's very hard to pull off. I feel like you have to be a very talented director in order to make just simply characters in a room talking really interesting, especially to sustain that for long periods of time over a feature. Mm-hmm. That's very difficult in my opinion. I honestly think like of all of the things a director can do, that might be one of the hardest things to execute. Like, which is surprising because it's actually it seems kind of simple. And yeah, like Ethan said, like a movie like 12 Angry Men is a great example of that, of how you can create drama just from dialogue and inflections in like the characters' voices and the way that you control the scene and edit around it and stuff like that.
The director is actually an actor.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Cran?
Yeah, you might recognize him for his role as the stoner in Cabin in the Woods.
What?
No way.
Yeah.
No way. I had a feeling that guy was going to get a career going. I remember seeing
But
that
not
guy,
like this.
Yeah, I was like, this guy, he's got something. I thought he was gonna go like super bad mode and not like, just. But okay, good for him.
I mean, he wrote it as
a.
a play initially, and then the studio was like, it's too powerful, so let's make it a movie. And I love it. Sobering as hell.
Dang, I had no idea that dude just took off like that.
Yeah.
Neither did I until
Good
Sundance.
for
So then
him.
we were watching the after thing, and he's like, "I'm the director." I'm like, "Huh?"
What? That's cool.
Holy moly, that's cool.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
well, yeah.
All right. Good pick.
Man, just like that, Justin Sean from Twilight fame,
Yeah.
the Asian dude, the one Asian dude in Twilight.
Really? Oh my god.
All right,
Well-
Ethan, who's your next director?
It is a first time directorial debut.
Okay.
I don't know if this person was an
Oh.
actor. But I saw this film with Brandon actually. I don't think you've seen it, Chris.
And his mom.
And my mommy.
How do I know this? I know this movie.
Don't say that when you're naked.
Sorry. Sorry, Mom. Yeah, I'm choosing Pig, starring Nicolas Cage.
Oh,
Hey, Piggy. This
Oh,
film, I think it's funny, all three of my films, I think, deals with with modern day nihilism in a way. And I think Pig is one of the shining examples of, I would call it optimistic nihilism. From the trailers, you think that this is John Wick, but with a pig, and Nicolas Cage being like some crazy dude, but it's actually like so different. It's first of all, it takes place in Portland, which is like, it's where my sister lives, and I'm sort of fond of the city, and it does a good job of capturing the culture and like the feel of it. And it centers around sort of like the culinary scene in Portland, and just, it's such a slow and gentle film, even though it advertises it as something pretty hardcore, but it really is a gentle film about Nicolas Cage, sort of going on this self-made crusade, to show that, this world is gonna end soon. Your life's gonna end quicker than you think. And you should use your time to do something that truly makes you happy and that you truly love doing, And for him, that's just like living in the woods and making really good food. He's teaching this young sort of restaurant owner, this dude who buys out restaurants and stuff like that, which is sort of like its own business scheme. It's sort of him teaching him these lessons of just what it means to be an individual living in this time where we don't know when a crisis is going to happen. Very good COVID narrative too, of using this time that you have to just be happy and make something that makes you happy. And one of the best scenes is when he enters in a restaurant of one of his old apprentices who now does this crazy stuff about oh, those really pretentious restaurants, where they're only used these few ingredients and the dishes just look so minimalist and kind of gross, but everyone's oh, it's so fine, it's so delicate. The Nicolas Cage what are you doing? This is not what you wanted to do. And it's just so good in that way. This film, I thought it was good when I saw it, but it stuck with me throughout the whole year, and I can't get it out of my mind, so that's why I had to include it on my list of some of the best films of 2021. Brandon, you saw this film with me. I know you're a fellow Pig fan. You bought it on Blu-ray. You tried to show your family, but they didn't want to. Shout out to Brandon's family. Shout out to Brandon's sister, who said she would leave the family. No, she'd just leave the room. I'm just kidding.
She said she would leave the room.
She'd leave the room if you watched Pig.
She said it was too heavy.
Too heavy.
Yeah.
It's kind of heavy.
It is.
She's not wrong. It's kind of a heavy film.
Wrong.
But what do you think of Pig, Brandon?
I think it's heavily mismarketed.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, we went into it expecting it to be another Nicolas Cage extravaganza, because that's what he's been doing lately. Is he's been doing films that are as wild as hell, and he's continuing on that trend next year with the film that he's playing himself in, which I'm very excited for. But like, you expect that unhinged nature, and you're expecting maybe some action because of like what is pitching about this guy trying to get his pig back. But on under the surface is like a very emotional tale of reconnection, whether that be with society or, you know, with other people in your life. It's kind of a fascinating look at the underworld of being a chef as well. There's a lot going on in it, and like there are a lot of scenes that are very emotionally resonant with me. Particularly one near the end of the film where Alex Wolff, Nick Cage, and somebody else, I'm not going to say who because it's kind of a spoiler for the movie, eat a dinner together.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most beautiful and haunting scenes I've ever seen in my life. And I love it. I feel like I need to rewatch it, and if I rewatch it, it's going to crack its way back into my top 10 of 2021. But right now it's sitting at number 20.
Number 20. Woo. Yeah, Chris, have you seen Pig? I don't remember you saying if you've seen it or not.
I have not. I actually, like, until you described the movie, I thought it was literally what you like said, like the trailers pitched it as, like
John Wick with Pig,
like a John Wick-esque pig, like. So that's why, like, I had no idea that this was like an intimate character drama. Like, I assumed it was like an action movie with a very unhinged, cagey Nicolas Cage. And yeah, I mean that's how I saw it, and I don't know, I just never seeked it out because it was like another Nick Cage movie. All right, like whatever. But I mean, you guys are describing it as this like existential tale about nihilism and just reconnecting with the earth and the planet and people and culture and whatever. Which I mean, I buy that.
Yeah.
I totally buy into that.
I think you'd really dig this movie, Chris.
Yeah. So I'll give it a shot sometime. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, Chris, let's go into the second round with your second 2022 film. 2021, not 2022. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. 1 year ahead of myself.
He's like, all right, my favorite movie, Avatar 2. It's very good. James Cameron's the legend.
So of all my 3 films, I think this is the one that I would say I have the highest chance of double stacking with someone. Although it may not be my favorite movie of the year, these are the kinds of movies that I frankly think we need more of nowadays. I chose Mike Mills's Come On, Come On.
Double stack.
There it is.
Okay.
I had a feeling you'd choose this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and grind through this. So these kinds of like simple, down to earth character portraits, nothing fancy, you know, just beautiful humanity depicted in this kind of fly on the wall kind of way is so refreshing. I haven't seen a movie like this in a while. Just something a bit more easy, more relaxed, a bit more like slice of life. And let's dissect that. Like, I mean, like Joaquin Phoenix does a wonderful job in this film. This is a post Joker era Joaquin, and
you can feel it in the film.
And he glides back into soft Joaquin beautifully. He it is like you just pick him up, like literally, like he is unrecognizable between the films he does. There's no like Joaquin Phoenix performance. There's just his characters, which I think is the highest compliment I can pay an actor. Woody Norman, by the way, does a fantastic job. Keeps up with Joaquin, if not matches Joaquin, in my opinion.
Top tier child actor I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, honestly, like it is bizarre. The kid was 11 when they filmed this. I could barely do math when I was 11. So, you know, like that goes to show, like, yes, Woody is an incredibly talented kid. The way he's able to hone emotions as an 11-year-old, I think he was honing emotions that I didn't even know existed when I was 11. Yes, anyway, it's not a flashy movie at all, but it's a very quiet exploration of our humanity through the minds of children, framed through the lens of a story of an emotionally estranged relationship between an uncle and his nephew. It's so simple, but so fucking effective. I'll hand it over to Brandon in a second, but one last thing I'll mention is that the cinematography in this film is so beautiful.
It is.
And that's the other thing. It's not flashy, but it's so gorgeously simple. It uses texture and tone over like spectacle and flair, which I think is cinematography at its purest, and they do it wonderfully. Brandon, you like this movie even more than I did.
I do.
Go for it.
Come On is a very special film. I think I like Mike Mills's stuff. Like, he did 20th Century Woman, which I thought was really good from a few years back. But I think this film hit even harder with me because this is about somebody who is very much not necessarily at a crossroads in his life, but he's doing something that he's passionate about, and the people around him are mixed on it. Some people support that and think what he's doing is great, and some people are like, don't you want to settle down and like find a a life that like it fits you here? And through this journey between him and his nephew, you have this like beautiful, like, he's becoming like a father and learning about parenting through like mistakes and errors, and it feels very neorealist in that sense. Not only because it's shot in like a black and white color palette, but because it's also like genuinely like a realist movie where it's like you said, a fly on the wall, like jumping from location to location in the US, whether that be the deep south or the East Coast or the West Coast. You get it all in this movie. It's a highly funny film. It's very emotional, but it's also like intellectually stimulating. It has a lot to say. Like, they talk to real people to tell these stories about America today and what they think it'll be like in the future. And like, the kids are so precocious today.
Yeah,
like, they know
they're so pure of heart, and like so naive in a way, but also like we need that.
And some of them are realistic, you know, like there are kids who are like way beyond their years in this movie, not just Woody Norman, but like actual kids that they interview. And not only that, the guy has a podcast. We can all relate to that. I took a podcasting class.
Whenever he was recording, I just be like, yo, I know how this shit works. That's crazy.
Ethan and I took a podcasting class with an NPR guy in college, John Nielsen, shout out. And we very much made stories like he was making in the film. And like, I found it so beautiful and fascinating to see like not an artist and a journalist sort of like make this. And then the subplot with the mom is fantastic as well. Like, and her like but like her helping her husband through a terrible time. It's very realist, and I think it depicts like the 2020s well so far. Like, I feel like that is a perfect representation of the here and now, which I really love.
Yeah, this is a really good film. Sort of just about like exploring like human connection to one another, and about the mind of a child. I've never seen a film dissect the mind of a child so well than this film, you know? And I'm glad that they did it with one of the best child actors I've ever seen. And just juxtaposing this story of Joaquin Phoenix and this boy with his interviews with these kids and what do they think about like where they're living right now in America and what their future is going to be like, you know? It's so poetic and beautiful. It can get pretty tragic at times too when like the kid's showing true emotion and how he feels, and just one of the most heartwarming films I've ever seen. Great film. It barely didn't make my top 10 because I just thought that some other films were better. But it was a great time. I saw this in an old theater in Portland too, which was super fun on a big screen. Yeah, great movie. Hold on a second. Just gotta respond to a text. It's about housing. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. My dad just sent us a thing I just wanted to say. Okay. All right. So my next film, because you guys both did a double stack, I think I'd like to see maybe another double stack will happen. This is a film that I was able to catch, which I didn't think I was going to be able to catch this year, but I just managed to do so because they extended the runtime of it at the Frida, and that is Drive My Car.
Double stack.
There it is.
I had to do my top 3. The top 3 of the year
Yeah.
are so special to me. Like, can I say something before you go on about Drive My
Yeah,
Car?
do it.
Okay. I really, really, really wanted to choose, like, something that I saw recently, Licorice Pizza, or Nobody, or Dune. But, like, all 3 of those, I was like, I can't get rid of my top 3 of the year, because they're just so good. Summertime also. But anyway, go ahead, Ethan.
Yeah, Drive My Car. I was so lucky to know absolutely nothing about this film going in besides the poster, and that it was like getting lots of buzz at Cannes. So
Me too.
and I knew it was long. That's all I knew. And I'm like, okay, it's a near 3-hour movie. I'm just gonna dive into this and see what it's all about. And this is such a special movie. I was absolutely floored with how incredible and how like just poetic it is about sort of the process of guilt, grief, and self-love, which I think that those are like 3 things that I think everyone struggled with in 2021. It was such a hard year for all of us, and seeing this character. So it stars, I don't want to say too much because Chris, I feel like you're gonna see this film eventually, and I want you to go in just as blind.
Okay, by the way, where the fuck did you guys see this movie?
The Frida.
Oh, geez.
In Santa Ana.
Yeah.
But it's actually, I think it's available on home theater right now for like a certain amount of money, so you could watch it at home.
And
but like it's
okay.
I bet it's playing somewhere in LA, Chris. You just gotta find
Yeah.
it.
Is this one of those movies where the theater experience is hugely important, or
I think it helps.
Could I watch this? Yeah.
I think so because it's a 3-hour film. I think if you're seeing it in a theater, it limits your distractions.
That's true.
And it lets you just
I probably would get distracted.
get lost in it because it doesn't feel like a 3-hour film. I could watch this for 5 more hours, honestly. Like, you get sucked into these characters' lives. This is all I'll say. It stars an actor who's now directing a play, and
Okay.
and something happens to him, and he has to struggle with that, feeling through the grief and bouncing off that grief and self-love and guilt off of other people who have had like just as bad things that happened to them in their life. And it's a multilingual film, which is cool, because the plays that he puts on are in multiple languages, and so he's talking to people of all different languages in this film, and not just spoken languages. There's doing Korean Sign Language in this film, which is super cool. And it's just a film about one of my fundamental ideologies of, in order to love others, to love and understand others, you have to love and understand yourself, which is like, that is like a core philosophy of mine that I carry with me every single day, and I tell everyone I know. And this film explains it and displays it perfectly, and it is just it's such a delicate and beautiful film. It's a very quiet and delicate film, and it was just one of those films that I needed to see at the right time in my life. Such a beautiful film. Brandon, what do you think about Drive My Car?
I think it's, like you said, a slow meditation on grief, and there are multiple points throughout the movie where you go, wow, like, I can't believe this is a movie, or that this is in a movie. And it's not that it's like shocking or anything. It's just like it feels so real, as as you guys often remark on Twitter, real. and it's like there are a lot of things to do thematically in this film that you can dissect from each of the main characters. There's two or three, and each of them kind of has its own arc, and it's kind of beautiful how they intersect and how the director slowly peels back each layer as the film goes on, because it leaves at first you're like, you don't know a lot and you have a certain perspective on certain characters, and as the film progresses those things slowly start to shift as more layers are peeled back. But at the end of the film I feel like you find yourself in a very similar place, like in regards to how you feel about each of the characters, and that is one of love. I love these characters.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's very human. I honestly, all three of my films are very human films. They're very grounded. I didn't put any big sci-fi blockbuster on here, and this is definitely top 3 of the year. I need to see it again immediately. I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta check this movie out. I've only heard the most amazing of things. Like, most people are giving this, like, isn't this one of the highest rated of the year, like, on Letterboxd? I'm sure it is.
I think so.
It should
Yeah.
be. But, like, yeah, I think, like, a lot of people, like, even, like, people who are tend to be, like, harsh on certain movies, like, are giving this, like, at least a 4. Which is, like, I feel like if a movie is like, making, like, 4 stars tends to be its minimum rating, that's when you know it's, like, something really, really special.
Yeah. I feel like it might not emotionally hit with everyone. It's a bit cold dialogue driven wise, but I love it. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris.
no, I was just saying, like, I think, like, because, like, this movie's concept is I feel like this is a hard film to pitch, you know, for people, because you know, I mean, like, what, guy in a car. I mean, you know, like
Is it?
Like,
Is
it?
it?
I mean, then again, I don't know, but, like, you know, it's a hard film to pitch to someone because it's so down to earth. It's almost a little bit like what kind of a movie, but I mean, like, I've been proven wrong by that before, and I know that like, great filmmaking can come from even the most random of places. And why not a car?
What?
Yeah. So,
And that's why I'm picking Titan. Just kidding.
Why not a car?
why not? Wait, I want a picture
Baby Annette.
of the main character.
Baby
and it's like, why
Annette.
not a car?
Why not a car? Hey, if it's got holes, no. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm sold on that. I gotta. You know what? Sometime next week. I'm gonna search out a theater nearby. That'll.
Please do yourself a favor and do that. And if you do that, no, I'm not gonna say if you do that. I'll do that for Blue Bayou as well, but not with the theater. I'm gonna watch it this week.
Right.
And Mass. I'm gonna watch all of these films. I want to make sure I watch all these films that we're talking about as soon as I can. All right, let's go into the final round here, Chris. Let's hit it with your last pick.
All right. All right, you guys probably saw this fucking coming. I chose Dune. Yeah. Yeah, I chose Dune. This movie's pretty fucking unbelievable. I think all of us, I mean, even, like, that's the thing about this movie that has made me so happy. It's, like, both, like, small moviegoers and, like, people who like the, like, more drama kind of stuff and, like, into, like, the quote unquote art of film. Really excited for this movie. But also general audiences, like, relatively, like, yeah, they were kind of excited for this movie. A good number of people went to go see this. In an era filled with reboot franchises, and IPs dominating box office and our, like, collective media and art culture, this movie was actually really special to me. We've talked about this before, but Denis Villeneuve is one of those directors that all three of us can wholeheartedly agree is an amazing filmmaker. Yep. There tends to be, like, a couple of directors among the three of us that, like, we're all kind of like, this guy's fucking awesome. We all love Kurosawa. We all love Del Toro. You know, we love, you know, there's a selection out there, but Denis Villeneuve is one of our favorite contemporary directors.
Yes.
His steady climb from character pieces to crime thrillers and lately into science fiction dramas has been a pleasure to watch. And Dune alongside, like, Denis Villeneuve, alongside his ever-talented team of collaborators, have created one of the most epic sci-fi films I've ever seen in terms of scope and scale. the world is so staggeringly vast and enworldling to see. In my humble opinion, this is one of the greatest technical achievements in modern cinema history in a while. They do things in this movie that I never even thought like I could really imagine. The way they mesh like live action photography with CGI is completely seamless. I genuinely can't tell what's real and what's fake sometimes. Yeah, and like so Dune, everybody knows and talks about this movie. It is not a complete movie. It definitely does feel like a third of one. But I will say that third is pretty damn masterful. Like a lot of the weight of this film is dependent on understanding that there are sequels to come.
Which they let you know about in the beginning of the film.
They let you know because they say part 1.
And that was like, huh?
And thank goodness that this is how they did it, because I can't imagine them being able to create this world, create all of the stuff they were doing, and tell a full cohesive story in, and I know it sounds weird, but like 3 hours, not enough. Not enough for this world.
Yeah.
You need the trilogy. And I'm glad that the box office was good enough that what is it, Legendary Pictures greenlit the sequels. I don't know who.
Warner Brothers.
Legendary. Yeah, Warner Brothers and Legendary greenlit the sequels. Yeah, and I'm excited to see them, but even though you may lose that kind of singular collective like cohesive film story, you gain a steady growing depth in story and its themes and its world building. It takes its time. The world is so textured and tangible, which is so rare to find in these kinds of sci-fi films nowadays. Watch this on the biggest screen and the loudest sound system you can find. This, I think, of all the movies to kind of remind me of how special the theater going experience is. I'm sorry, Spider-Man, but Dune is the one for me that reminded me that theaters, that's where the party's at. All right, we all love Dune. Have at it, boys. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I didn't put this in my top of the list. Didn't crack my top tier because I do feel like that. Like, I just need to see the rest of them to truly appreciate this one. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard.
It's
hard to give it a rating.
To me, watching this first Dune felt like I was watching the Fellowship of the Ring for the first time without knowing Two Towers or Return of the King. And I think Dune is an amazing movie, fantastic movie, but it left me hanging, and I'm gonna be hanging until those second ones. And like I can't shake that for putting that in my top of the tier of the film. What am I saying? Top.
What are you
top
saying?
of 21. Top. What? I am losing my fucking mind right now. What is going on? I'm having a stroke. Anyways, never mind. Dune is amazing. I can't wait to see the sequels. So good. Can't wait for the sequel. This movie, I was shocked how much like the David Lynch movie it is. That was one of the most surprising things. It's very similar. Because, like, I just wasn't expecting... I thought they were just going to try to go as far away from that as possible. But it's, like, it's very structurally similar. But it's just the
execution.
But it's just better. It just feels better, you know?
Yeah.
Some of my favorite scenes in the film is whenever Villeneuve was able to capture the scope of it. Whenever we saw those giant ships. Like, one of my favorite shots is that giant, like I don't know, it looked like a cone or some ship, it looked like a big mouth.
Oh, is it when they're going to Arrakis?
And then the ships were like, there's like a bunch of tiny ships flying out of it. That felt like the first Alien movie to me, when there's like the giant rig right next to the planet, and you're just like, whoa, that feels fucking huge. Or just whenever you see the sandworms. They did the worms.
They look
so good.
So big. I didn't know they could look so.
Yeah, big. And when the scene when you're first encountering the worm, when they're all having to escape the spice gathering machine,
turning into
ground shaking and like this thing slowly sinking because the worm is coming up to eat it. You're just like, this thing is fucking huge. Oh my god. We didn't get enough worms. One of my complaints. I feel like we need a bit more worms. We're gonna get more worms. I know we're gonna get more worms, but. Cast was excellent. This Denis Villeneuve casted the hell out of it. I am so excited to be living through another like fantasy science fiction epic with everybody, you know? I didn't get my Lord of the Rings or first Star Wars trilogy. You know, I have the MCU, but that's a lot of films, you know? I'm so ready for everyone to be hyped about this, or I think it's just going to be 2 or 3 films. I don't know. I think they just greenlit 2. I think it's just going to be
then
Yeah,
but
and
there'll
there's
probably be a
supposedly
3.
gonna be a 4. Yeah, I
A
don't
3?
know.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's weird.
But I'm ready to be excited with everyone for the next one. It's going to just be so fucking cool. I can't wait for another adapted to the screen classic franchise, you know, from the book to screen. It's just that's such a special thing. And I'm so glad that Denny hit it out of the park. What do you think, Brandon?
I think it's an amazing film. It made my top 10. I do not like Timothy Chalamet, and this movie made a case for me liking that guy for that. He was really good in it. I feel
Yeah.
like he had his nuanced emotion, which I'm not used to seeing from him. You're just used to seeing him be a little emotionless goth boy, and that does happen a few times in this movie, but I feel like there's a lot more emotion that is shining through that emotionless exterior. I think the best part about this movie is that when I saw it for the first time in Dolby, I saw it in the front row, which I've never done in a Dolby before, but I wanted to be as close to the middle of the screen as possible, and my earlier tickets had like me at the side, so I was like, I'm just going to book later tickets for closer to the screen, and I felt like I was in my own world watching that movie. Like, just me and the screen and maybe a few people next to me looking up at like the grandeur of this made the scale even more epic. Made it look like I was watching a film on IMAX. But the thing is with the Dolbys, you have these recliners, so like you're not breaking your neck to look up at the screen, you know? And I mean, I was totally enraptured with it from the beginning of the film, like just sitting there watching it, and like at no point did I feel like it was too long.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just feel like it did take forever for stuff to happen, but I wasn't like angry about it. I was just like, I just want to see more of these worlds that they're on, like the Harkonnen world, Arrakis, Dune's, not Dune, Paul Atreides' homeworld, the Atreides homeworld, which is like, it's so beautiful. And each of the actors in it gives a great performance, and it's like a political narrative that actually feels like, I don't know, not preachy and slow and boring. Like,
Yeah.
I love politics in my movies, but when it's done wrong, it can be like, Don't Look Up. Another Timothy Chalamet movie. But instead, you get something kind of remarkable, as it kind of alludes to our own world and our reliance on oil. But it's more on spice in this film. I can't get enough of this movie. Can't wait for part 2, whether that's the conclusion or the middle chapter. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I do want to ask before we go on. What is your guys' favorite scenes from this movie? Is there a sequence that really stuck with you? Because for me, it was when the Harkonnens attack the Atreides family on Arrakis, the invasion at night. You remember that?
Yeah.
Something about the scale of that invasion was so fucking massive. And just knowing, like, wait, Josh Brolin dies off screen in that sequence.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Well, we don't
know
know that.
We also don't know. And also spoiler alert. But yeah.
You should have assumed that by clicking on this podcast.
I think my favorite scene, I already said it, was when the worm.
Right. The worm,
when they're
the first
escaping the
appearance of
worm. Yeah.
Dude,
I
this is a nerdy thing of mine, but like, you know how like the sand just starts like sinking underneath.
That's terrifying. Yeah.
That is a real thing that happens. Like if something is like, if there's an earthquake underneath sand,
Yeah.
like I think the scientific term for what that is called liquefaction, and it basically turns like sand, the texture of sand, into like this kind of like mushy water. So you literally have to like swim through sand.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously humans aren't built to swim through sand, so we're kind of fucked. But yeah.
It's so fucking
Brandon?
insane.
I have 2. I love how Timothy Chalamet's character Paul has to like earn his way through, because like at the beginning of the film, I could see somebody looking at this guy as like a royal pain in the ass, entitled
little shit.
little brat, because he's like trying to earn his. He's not earning anything, but then in the second half of the movie, he goes through it. You know, he's put through the ringer, and my favorite stuff is like when he's on the spice convoy mission with his dad and the Dune lady who has blue eyes. Not Zendaya's character. I forget the scientist that works with them, who is like an Arrakis native. When they're on that freighter and then the freighter goes down, but they can't escape it, so they have to evacuate everybody off. And Paul is kind of taken up by the spice in that moment, and he's like on the ground and he's seeing the prophecy. Or in the second half of the movie, right after the escape, where they crash on the ground and they have to like survive on their own. You know, like Rebecca Ferguson and Timothy Chalamet's character.
Yeah.
Like when they're in that tent, you know, I love stuff like that. I love it because it's so claustrophobic, but it's also like using your survivalist instinct appears, and like people have to change and evolve with the circumstance they're in. And like you said, like it is very one-on-one. There's no big scale to distract, although I like it. Also, sorry, another scene I really like, when the Harkonnen, when Oscar Isaac bites the thing.
Oh, and then like poisons the room.
Oh, yeah. That's also one of mine. I was going to say that too. Scene. Yeah.
Dude, he went out like a G. That scene.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enough of us nerding out about Dune. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. So Brandon already did his last pick, so I'm going to my last film. I'm picking my favorite movie. Baby Annette. No, I'm not picking Annette. But Chris, you got it. First of all, shout out to Annette. Brandon and I just watched that film. It's so fucking funny.
Before we move on, I do have to say, Professor Fury emailed me about that movie because she was asking me if I've seen Dune and Annette, and I was like, yeah, I love Dune. I haven't seen Annette, and she was like, yeah, and then she said something like, I don't remember if I'm quoting. I apologize if I'm misquoting, but is it technically a musical, like a musical? Okay.
It's my favorite musical of the year
until it started.
I knew it was because it was like I saw the Sparks documentary that Edgar Wright did about that band, and they talk about the movie that they worked on. So they're like, we want to make a musical.
Fury hated it.
Fury hated it.
Yeah, she didn't like it.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was great. It's so it's so funny. I love it so much.
Baby Annette.
Baby Annette. Baby Annette. Anyways.
Shall we start? Shall we?
No, we're going to end this with my last pick. My favorite film this year. No surprise. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0, Thrice Upon a Time. I had to choose it.
Good movie.
I watched it last night. I just had to remind myself.
I saw your review and I was like, fuck, I already know what he's going to pick.
I had to.
He was going to watch it one more time. I knew that.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it one more time, regardless, just to remind myself that this is my favorite movie of the year because I remember, Chris, you actually walked in on us when we were watching it for the first time. Remember that?
We were like, get out of here.
It was before Buddy Bot, I remember, the Buddy Bot screening. And I was an absolute emotional wreck when you walked in. It was... Okay, so now, Chris, now that you've seen End of Evangelion...
Okay.
So if End of Evangelion is like a kick in the nuts and like a slap on the forehead, this is like...
A hug?
This is like a hug and a kiss on the cheek for Evangelion. And it's like... Oh, it melts. It's still a very traumatic film, I would say, but it leaves you just as emotional, but for the exact opposite reasons.
Interesting.
These Evangelion rebuilds are like the Matrix Resurrections.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot like the Matrix Resurrections. By this film deconstructs these characters both as people and as cultural. I was not in America, but they're cultural icons in Japan. Like this is like one of the biggest blockbuster franchises in all of Japan. I think this was like one of the highest grossing movies there. So it deconstructs them as these characters that each other in the film care about and that we care about outside the frame. And it's pretty explicit in that. And of course it dives into the classic Evangelion themes of some of those existentialist stuff that we love. about self-love. Same stuff that Drive My Car. I feel like there's similar things going on here, but
Licorice Pizza does that too.
it does. Oh, okay. Now I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to it. I'm seeing that this weekend. It is just, it's phenomenal. I think it's one of the most beautifully animated films I've seen. There is a shot, Chris, in this film where it looks like it's shot like a handheld camera, where like the director's going around the characters while they're doing a really intense action. It's not robots, it's just two characters like doing something. It feels like rotoscope animation, but I know it's not. But it feels like it's kind of Uncanny Valley. Brandon, do you remember the scene?
There are a lot of scenes like that in this movie.
But the first one they do that is the force feeding scene. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Where it's like
where Asuka's force feeding Shinji.
Yeah.
And that you're taken all around this room while she's doing that, and you're like, how is this? Is this real? Like, do these characters actually exist, and did they literally just film the scene? There are scenes where you think like, is this photography or is this hand drawn? You know, and it's mind-boggling.
And then there's scenes where it's like, this is CG, and I know it's CG, but it's crazy.
It's crazy. And like, you're just like, no fucking shit, this took 10 years to make, you know? Because the last Evangelion movie came out in 2011, and then this one came out in 2021, and you're just like, holy shit. Such a good movie. Such an emotional movie for me. Had to include it as my best film of this year. Brandon, what do you think?
I don't have as deep of a relationship with Evangelion as Ethan here, but I do love the franchise. I just got the complete series, End of Evangelion and Death True, on Blu-ray. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Thank you, Mommy and Papi. Mine's coming in the mail, the collector's edition.
Yeah.
Kind of regret
I just got the regular. That's fine. Don't worry about it. And I think it's still a fantastic update to the ending of Evangelion. This is a much contentious franchise as it has 3 endings, one for each of the fan bases.
That's why this is called Thrice Upon a Time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the first one, everybody has a controversial take on. The second one is pretty well received, and I feel like most people have seen it over the third ending, which just came out.
Yeah.
And this one is probably my favorite of the endings. Now, it's not my favorite Evangelion movie. I still prefer the end of Evangelion's ending because it makes you feel some sort of way, and it's nihilistic and it's surprising. But with Thrice Upon a Time, it feels like an artist saying goodbye to his creation. Like they're never going to return to it. It feels final, but it feels so complete. Like there are no loose ends with any of the characters from the rebuilds or any of the characters from the original series. And it is one of those legacy movies. It's not the direct legacy sequel, as more so the first one kind of is. Maybe the second one more so. Mm-hmm. But it works, and I love it. Especially the second half of this movie. It's quite insane. It's very cinematic, and like Ethan said about the animation, like some of the stuff they do here is very, very, very complex, to the point where you're questioning your own reality as a viewer. So you gotta love it for that. I don't want to spoil too much because, Chris, you'll watch the rebuilds eventually, I'm sure. But
I'm sure eventually.
Very good.
So, Chris, what have you heard about these rebuilds in this film? You know?
I honestly don't even know what the fuck a rebuild is. Like, so there's like alternative endings or something. I don't know how this works.
Okay, so there's 4 movies. They're all on Amazon Prime, and you'd make it think rebuild. They're just saying that because it's like robot based, but it's kind of like a remake. But then you slowly first one's a remake, but then you kind of slowly see that it's kind of like a sequel to the original series, not in terms of a narrative sense, but more of a thematic sense, and more of an explicit thematic sense. And it's like
don't look at it like the quality of these movies, but think the Halloween reboots. Like,
I see what you mean. Okay, in terms of structurally, in terms of like one negates the other.
Ethan, why are you making that face?
No, because it doesn't negate anything. It doesn't negate anything. It adds on to it.
Oh. True.
It's not.
I don't know. I don't
Brandon, there's a sequence where they. Okay. Don't listen to Brandon. It doesn't negate anything. It adds. It adds to to watch all of Evangelion includes these films at the end. You have to watch everything that comes before. which you have, to watch these at the end. Okay?
Okay.
So, that's...
But I'm talking about in terms of connection to the overall narrative. Like, thematically you're right, but not narratively.
Narratively, yeah, I guess. Kind of.
Because thematically it does add a lot, but...
Where there's
like
one thing that's the same, but then
Yeah.
there's a change. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, I get that. All right, yeah, so that's my last film. Chris, definitely check these out since you love Evangelion now. Make it well worth it. On Amazon Prime. Recommend that to all of you too. And there are all of our 2021 picks. Wow. What a
Can't believe
great...
we each had 7 picks. 21 picks.
There's all of our 2021 picks. So before we decide what one film is going to be added onto the stack, let's run down all of our picks one more time. Chris, do you want to start us off?
Sure. My films were Blue Bayou, Come On, and Dune.
Brandon?
Mass, come on. And Drive My Car.
And mine were Pig, Drive My Car, and Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0. Thrice Upon a Time. All right, so Come On, Drive My Car. Automatically in. I'm thinking one of two. Dune or Pig?
I was thinking Evangelion or Dune.
Really?
Yeah.
But
I think the only issue with picking Evangelion is
it's hard to tell someone to watch that film to represent 2021 to watch that one.
You're just more saying, hey, this is very special to me.
Yeah.
But I would agree that it deserves to be on any list if you've seen the Evangelion movies. But maybe pick or Dune.
Because I also think it represents great postmodern reflexivity of franchise films in 2021. You know, I'd group this with this and Matrix Resurrections, but I think this one's better than Matrix.
Do you think Dune is a little like? I'm more than happy for you guys to pick Dune, but do you think like the fact that it's not a cohesive, full movie, like makes it hard for this list, or do you think it's fine?
I think since it's the beginning, I think it's fine. I think we should put Dune since I think we all are on the same page with this film since we've all seen it. Let's have one that we've all seen and that we all love. You know?
Yeah. Well, we all seen Come On.
That's true. So we have 2 of them.
Yeah.
2. But this one's not double stacked.
I believe everything you guys say about Drive My Car. So
yeah.
You gotta watch Pig though.
Yeah.
You gotta watch
Pig.
Pig.
Is that on streaming or something?
I have it on Blu-ray, so if you want to borrow it.
But it's probably on, somewhere.
It's a Neon
it's
movie,
on
so it might be on Hulu, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Everyone, watch Pig on Hulu right now.
No, finish the podcast. Then
finish the podcast. We only got a few more minutes left, and then watch Dune. Okay, so let's think of an order here. I think we should do Dune first. Let's have an explode, because this is the year of coming back to the theaters. Let's have the thing that like brought us back. You know, that made it feel like we were back in the theaters. So let's start with Dune.
This saved theaters for me, not Tenet.
Yeah, not Tenet.
Oh my God, was Tenet this year?
No, Tenet was last year.
That was last year.
Godzilla vs. Kong, though, that was a good one.
That kind of
that was my first one where I felt like I was back when we saw Godzilla vs. Kong, and I was baked out of my mind, and I was glued into my chair.
Mine was Nobody. That was maybe.
I think mine was probably Godzilla vs. Kong, but all of those that era was like so refreshing.
That era,
yeah,
that era of like
the first 3 months of the year.
Yeah, the first.
Yeah, that did feel like an era though, where we were slowly climbing out of our shells. You know, it was truly an era. And then I think Come On is a good middle one.
Yeah.
And then I think Drive My Car to finish it off.
Yeah, Drive My Car's ending's pretty crazy.
It is.
This is a long screening.
Yeah. 2021 was a long year. It felt.
Yeah,
like
and a lot of the
movies.
A lot of movies this year were like 2 hours plus, which I heavily love. It's not about the runtime though, guys. It's about the pacing.
Yeah.
God, let's not have that discourse in 2022, even though we definitely will.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will. It'll come up again.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on.
Come on. All right. So let's run down then our list of 2021's best films. Chris, do you want to kick off this list with our first pick?
Yep, our first pick is the movie that saved moviegoing. Fuck you, Spider-Man. It is Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve, an incredible space opera epic. One of the most technically impressive films of the year and in quite a few years. Creates an incredible world for us to explore and think about and contemplate. That is promises to be one of the biggest movie-going events of the not only of the year, but as the sequels come on, it gets even better.
It gets
I'm
better.
rambling.
It
All
gets
right,
better.
let's go number 2.
All right, Brandon, take us to number 2.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on! Come on!
This is a beautiful. Say you're freaking mad.
I'm freaking mad!
This is a fantastic human drama comedy that makes you really think about the future, the past, the present, all of the above. It's a love letter to humanity as well as a hate letter. Watch Come On, Come On.
Fuck you.
Please.
Please
Love
watch it. And our last film is Ryosuke Hamaguchi's Drive My Car, a 3-hour intimate epic, I would say, a personal intimate epic about just about life, grief, forgiveness, and self-love, self-forgiveness. It's a beautiful film that you won't feel its runtime once you're sucked into this life of this man, this actor / theater director. And it just, it puts you in the mindset that you should be going into 2022. You know, it's a quiet, gentle film for you to be a quiet, gentle, and kind person in 2022. And I feel
got therapy.
it's film is therapy, and this film is therapy. You know, so watch the movie, have yourself a good time, and that's our stack. That's the list, everyone. This is a good ass stack. Holy shit.
We're gonna theraperize the world.
We're gonna
Yeah, this is a
theraperize
hard
the
one.
world. This is a good one.
Right, this is only we all only got to pick 3 of the year, and we had 2 double stacks. There are a lot of movies that we could talk about.
Do you want to do some honorable mentions?
I'd love
yeah.
to.
Do you have,
Let's do
yeah,
that.
Chris, kick us off with some honorable mentions that you have.
All right, hang on. Let me pull this up real quick. Hang on. Letterboxd is my best friend in this situation. My range and year 2021. Bang. Okay, here we go. Well, okay. First of all, my favorite movie of the year. We already picked it.
Oh,
It was Mitchell versus the Machines.
really? That's your
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my favorite of the year. That's a personal one, just for me.
yeah. That's
was
good.
Pretty
one's
good.
That was just for me. With the
Right, Ethan?
I also really love The Suicide Squad. I thought
Yes.
that was one of the most exciting comic book movies ever to come out. That is a movie I think you can tell was made by a fucking nerd, and I loved it. Shang-Chi was great. I'm trying to pick out what else is great. Green Knight.
Yeah.
Shout out to Malignant, man. That is a
Oh man, great ass
Why
film.
crazy.
We
Yeah.
picked it for gaslighting movies, but great fucking film. Gotta check it out.
Rattle in, I don't know. West Side Story.
Good movie.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yes,
Fire.
one of my
That
favorites
was
of the year.
fire. Nobody was great. The only Sundance movie I saw, On the Count of Three.
Which hasn't even come out yet, bro.
hasn't even come out yet. I think it's technically a 2022 release.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
great
good.
Really?
It's pretty
Oh,
good.
hell yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well,
I didn't.
can't wait to
I
see
thought
it.
it was good. I didn't
for
love it, but I
2022.
liked it.
All right, Brandon, you want to go over some honorable mentions?
Yeah. Gotta shout out the Chapman alum again. Carlos Lopez Estrada had 2 films this year. I didn't love Raya and the Last Dragon, but Summertime is one of the most unique movies I've ever seen. It's told through poetry, the whole movie basically, and it's fascinating. And it's an LA film, so anybody who lived in LA might like it. Primetime, another great Sundance movie that I don't think enough people are talking about. Power of the Dog on Netflix, Jane Campion's newest. The Last Duel, really good movie. Yes, there's a problem that Ethan has that is a pretty big problem, but I love the movie regardless.
Okay.
Candyman, excellent. Coda, The Matrix. This is the first Matrix movie I've liked. Nobody was one of my favorite action movies of the year. Pleasure was another good Sundance movie. Pig, French Dispatch, Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
Tick
Okay.
Tick Boom,
Yeah.
and Red Rocket.
Nice. All right. I was like, come on, give me some. Give me some I can say.
Werewolves Revenge.
You guys are taking all the good movies. Yeah, I just want to reinstate Suicide Squad was my favorite comic book movie of the year. One of my probably my favorite blockbuster. Such a good creative film that felt like a perfect synthesis of like 70s and 80s pulp comics with cinema. Zack Snyder's Justice League, another completely in a time where things do feel like samey and formulaic. It was refreshing to see a full artist vision, and it was just a great epic to watch. The Green Knight, so good. King Richard, I loved King Richard, man. That movie was so good. Will Smith, he's best actor of the year. Come on. French Dispatch, so cool to see magazine writing translated into, into a cinematic medium. So cool. Godzilla vs. Kong, welcome back to the theaters for me. Red Rocket, Sean Baker, so good. Another Sundance film that I loved, Together. This one is not getting enough hype. I thought it was such a good...
Come on, Together.
Come on, Together. Together was so good. It stars the Tables lady from I Think You Should Leave. So super cool, interesting. I wouldn't even call it a romantic comedy. It's more like platonic comedy. I don't know. This was a good hidden gem. 9 Days. Such a good film. I saw that the day I graduated. It's such a cool existentialist film. Titan, weird film. Annette, weird film. Love weird films. Nightmare Alley. And I'm going to shout it out. We've been dunking on it, but Spider-Man Far From Home. Fun movie.
No,
good movie.
Yeah, fun movie.
Oh yeah, No Way Home. Sorry, I always mix those two. Too many home. I hate the home titling. No Way Home.
It's good.
It's good. It's fun. It's cool. It's a cool little movie.
Titan, Ghostbusters, Werewolf Within.
Not Ghostbusters. Morally wrong film. Werewolves Within, fun film. Such a great film. A little anime. Words bubble up like soda pop. So cool. Check that out on Netflix. Very good. What, Chris?
Should we share our worst of the year? Or are we not in that mood right now?
We're not going to do a stack of them.
Because I don't think we're going to do a worst.
We're not going to do a stack, but let's just share some of the worst films. I'm just going to share 3 of them. All right,
go for it. You go first.
Kissing Booth 3.
Yeah.
Kill me.
We haven't seen it, bro.
Secret Agent Dingledorf. And then my worst film, He's All That. Oh my god. End me now.
I can't believe Joey and Tori made us like that.
I watched. I think the worst for me were Clifford.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's All That. Ethan, I'm not. I think you and I probably experienced the same way. That movie made me mad.
It made me fucking mad.
Movies get made.
Yeah.
Like these movies should not be made.
Oh.
And whoever decided to make this movie,
morally wrong film.
Morally wrong.
I appreciate people making bad movies because I know, like, hey, at least you made a movie. That should be an achievement in itself. Fuck anyone who was associated with this movie. You are morally wrong for bringing this to the screen. I'm sorry.
My review just opens with genuinely obscene and ends with, this is what my idea of hell looks like.
Hell, yeah. Okay, so those are my 3.
What else was bad? Halloween Kills, Conjuring 3.
Evil Dies Tonight. Conjuring 3.
Dies Tonight.
Oh, remember when we saw Conjuring 3? God,
dude, we were I was so annoyed.
I was so bored. That was such a boring movie. Oh my god. My god,
Brandon,
that was such a bad movie. Yeah.
I mean, you've already named my bottom 3, but I'll just name some other bad ones. I mean, I'm gonna name Dingledorf. That's my worst of the year.
Yeah. Also, a weirdly morally wrong film too by their weird manifesto that we found on their website.
Yeah,
like really put things into perspective. Like at first I was like, okay, that was pretty bad, but like, hey, it looked like they were just having fun, like making a film together, But they're like, movies these days, like they don't have good Christian values, and we're like, whoa, what the fuck? It was so fucking weird.
Earwig and the Witch.
Oh, so sad to see that. It was bad.
I didn't like Don't Look Up. I hated it.
It was okay.
Dear Evan Hansen, morally wrong film.
Very
morally wrong film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes, aggressively terrible. Home Sweet Home Alone.
The ending is so
God,
funny.
Home Sweet Home Alone, yeah.
Brandon showed us the ending of that movie, and it's so funny.
It's really like, why did they need to do that? And
Yeah.
it makes it worse. Tom and Jerry and Paw Patrol. Those are also pretty bad. But they're not really made for me, so I can recognize that they might have their lovers out there.
Good blocking, though.
Yeah, good blocking in the Paw Patrol.
When are we gonna do our
who's
stack
said,
for the
like, good
best
framing?
movies? Yeah, Brandon said good blocking. No, he said good framing. We gotta
Good
do
framing.
best framing. In
Yeah, wait, we should do that. We should start just picking out like formal elements in movies and just doing
Also,
stacks on them.
best
for
use of
2022
diegetic sound.
2022 filmmakers, if you're listening, stop making your movies so goddamn fast. I don't need another Jungle Cruise or Last Night in Soho.
Or Snake Eyes.
I think it's
Or
too
Snake
late for
Eyes.
2022 filmmakers. Most of those films are already made, so
Or they're already in the can, yeah.
they're already in the can.
But-
2023 filmmakers, look out,
Please. Slow
please.
down a
Blockbuster
little bit.
filmmakers, just take it easy.
You can
Chill.
like take a breath. I don't mind the quick pace, but if you're not like take a breath to develop characters,
Yeah.
you're fucking up pretty hardcore.
Biggest problem of 2021 was blockbusters and their pacing.
Pacing.
It was insane.
Yeah,
to see.
blockbuster pacing was not great this year.
Like
Or-
except for like Shang-Chi.
Except for Shang-Chi, Dune, Suicide Squad, Justice League. What else? What else had good pacing?
That's basically.
It's basically
I mean,
like
the black,
ones
all
that
the
aren't
Marvel
Marvel.
movies.
all Marvel
yeah.
was fine. Like
Yeah,
it was
I
like
thought
the-
Eternals
Not
it was the
Eternals.
was
one-off
fine, bro.
blockbuster
No,
that,
Eternals
like-
was faced fine.
I
You're
don't
just
think
crazy.
Eternals was paced fine.
Yeah,
I gotta
it was
say.
faced fine.
No.
It had a lot to do.
Yeah,
That's my argument.
it had a lot to do, and it didn't do it well. Okay. It did it okay. It's an okay film.
Can I put on my clothes now?
Oh yeah, that might be a good idea. Don't you have to
Chris,
have
you
to-
can. I'll put it on. Brandon, why don't you stick around for a few minutes and give us that true Knott's Berry experience. Oh, whoa,
Oh, ooh.
whoa, oh my
oh.
god, what? Okay, all right, I'm gonna cut the show off now. This stuff is gonna have to be not off the record. All right, Happy New Year, everybody. I'll see.
Happy New Year, everybody.
We'll see. Hey, we'll see you next year. Even though, wait, no, this comes out 20. Fuck, never mind. Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye.
That's embarrassing.
That's
Bye.